Hello everyone, welcome back to the Crystal Chronicles. This is episode number 14 on June 8th, 2016. My name is Pierre, and as usual, I am joined by Ben. Hey Ben.
Hello.
How's it going?
Doing great. Doing great. Got lots of stuff done this week in Final Fantasy Record Keeper, and got lots of good news elsewhere.
Well, glad to hear that. Also joining us tonight is Mark. Hey Mark.
How you guys doing?
Not too bad. Have you also got good playtime and news on your week?
Yep, it's been busy. I've been at a conference, but I've managed to complete my material and my dungeons for Final Fantasy Record Keeper.
Good. At first I thought we wouldn't have too much to talk about, but I'm looking at the outline right now. I think we've got a good show ahead of us.
Oh, yeah, most definitely. Don't let the lack of new events fool you guys. There's tons of new stuff.
Most
to talk
definitely.
about.
So, starting with the announcements and general stuff. First, this is and we're currently in the Anthology Campaign, which means that they're celebrating the addition of the last Final Fantasy that was lacking in Record Keeper, which is Final Fantasy XI.
Hooray!
And it means we're all getting extra materials, which obviously everybody likes.
Yep, we're getting Mithril. We're getting new accessories at the Fat Chocobo Exchange. Double greens.
Well, double greens is only last weekend and this upcoming weekend.
Correct.
So.
And also, I'm sure you've all noticed the new music.
Yeah, for some reason, I thought they were going to have a different music every day. I might have read this wrong.
No, I think it's just a medley, like they did last time with I think the anniversary event, or one of the events. It wasn't new music every day, but it was just a new medley.
Oh, I guess I'm not staying in the home screen long enough to hear that it's a medley because I only hear one song.
Yeah, it's got to be about 15 minutes of music.
Wow.
If you just sit and play it. Maybe not that long, but it's pretty long.
For your dedication, because none of us would have known that.
I just plug it into the car radio and I just listen to the home screen. You guys don't do that?
Oh no!
I'll make sure I actually have the music files. I'll make sure to post it on FFRK Central, so if anybody wants to download it and play it maybe a little bit easier in the car, keep an eye on the site probably tonight, Wednesday, or tomorrow, Thursday, and I'll have it up on the site for you guys to get.
Very cool. And in addition to new music, we have a new Keepers quiz on the website, so make sure to load up the Final Fantasy wiki to get all those answers right. And if we get it all right, players will be awarded with a total of 100,000 gil, 5 mithril, and 3 major growth eggs. So get out there and don't screw it up for everyone else.
Speaking of it, we all had a whole bunch of mithril coming from the portal lab this morning when we logged on.
That's true. And a whole mithril.
And 6 major growth eggs.
Exactly, and that was a nice surprise because I had totally forgotten about those. And
it's always nice to get a surprise like that.
If you want to get those, if I'm correct, you have about a whole month to log into the application and get them. So they're already in your item chest. Just make sure you log on FFRK before July 6th to get them. It's 10 free mithrils, so you don't want to pass on that.
Most definitely. All right.
Okay.
So,
moving on. There were a couple new dungeons added to the game at the beginning of June. There were Final Fantasy III, Final Fantasy XII, and Final Fantasy IX. I mean 11. Sorry, my Roman numbers are backwards.
Yep, and much like the 14 dungeons, the 11 dungeons are kind of out of. I like using the kind of paths system for the core dungeons, but they're totally separate. You can play them. You don't have to unlock them, I believe.
You have to unlock a few of them. It's not right away. Let me load it up.
Thank you for your correction.
Yeah, you have to unlock one of the Final Fantasy VI dungeons.
Let me go back up.
Well, I will say of the 3 Final Fantasy 11 dungeons that we get, well, we get 6. We get 6 classic, or 3 classic, 3 elite. 2 of them have no boss.
Yep.
So the first 2 are just, and they're all like 5 enemy rounds.
Oh,
so they're just kind of grinding dungeons. And finally, in the 3rd one, you get a boss. And it's 2 bosses, a Dark Dragon with his Seeker. I guess it's Harry Potter. I haven't played Final Fantasy XI. He kind of looks like that thing that the Seekers get in Harry Potter. So he's flying around there, and you got to grab him, I guess, so you can win the game and then beat the Dark Dragon. So
yeah, you don't get them right away, but frankly, like when you start, you've got 2
close.
Final Fantasy VII dungeons, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Final Fantasy IV dungeons, then 1 Final Fantasy VI, and then they're unlocked. So you could say they're almost right away.
Yeah, that's
so
like
basically
anyone
who's been playing the game long enough to say, I wonder if there's a Final Fantasy Record Keeper podcast out there.
Oh yeah, they have it. Yeah.
Plus, well,
probably
unlocked it by then.
Probably.
And by clearing those 11 dungeons, you'll gain access to Shantotto.
Yep, a Lady of Legend, an offensive magic character.
Yeah, pretty unique in that well, she can't equip fists, but she's able to use 6-star black magic and 4-star monk. So I'm sure there's some crazy combo that you could work out there. But yeah, it's cool. Definitely gains access to. Let me just look down some of the more.
It's just weird because there's not really any good attack equipment except for daggers that she can equip. So it's
and her attack stat isn't very good. Maybe later on, when they add kind of more supportive abilities for monk, because there's lots of self buff stuff. Who knows?
Yep.
Right now, I think the only worthwhile monk ability to use is chakra on her, just as a nice self-heal. But that's our quick review.
And on top of that, they also added a new record materia for Quina, which is Secret of the Q. Is it Q?
Yeah.
Q.
Whatever.
Q. And it's basically... I'm reading the outline. It's damage plus. What's that supposed to mean?
Support abilities.
It is add significantly or deal significantly more damage with support abilities. So it's 20% plus damage for support abilities.
Stick it on to your break users to just pack a little more damage in. It's pretty good.
So instead of equipping your support character with a weapon bonus kind of item, although most likely your support character is using Dr. Mog's teaching or Mako Might because they probably have a good, like shout or wall.
Sure.
But, if not, or even Kina, I have his soul break and it's shell and protect. So, but in case you are playing with 2 support characters, then you can use significantly more damage.
According to FFRK Central, it's actually 30% more damage.
Oh wow, 30%.
Yep,
significant
from support abilities. So
stuff like is yep, that's good.
All right, and that's it for the new dungeons and the new additions. And there were also new Geisel exchange items. Obviously, a free 1,000 green mithril, some memory crystal 1 and 2, major power orb, major white orb, and
wind.
Right.
And in addition to that, we have all these new accessories. So make sure to so there are 4-star accessories that from most realms that are worth 3,000 geshals, but then there's those really nice 5-star accessories. So make sure to scroll through those to see if they're any worthwhile. I recommend going for a Squall's necklace from 8 first, just because that plus 30 attack is really nice.
Yeah, it really depends on. I'm actually doing some work on this right now. I've cataloged all of the accessories we've gotten to this date, And I know some of the ones we're getting here in the future. I haven't cataloged that, but I'm trying to see what would be the best value. But yeah, if you have 0, 30 attack or 30 magic, if you're using a physical team and you have no 30 attack items, I mean, you want to pick up squalls. If you are using a magic team and you have no 30 magic accessories, you probably want to pick up Cerberus Relief. You know, if you want a plus 30 mind item, there's Dr. Sid's glasses.
Yep.
You know, but most of us, if you've completed all the content, you have 3 plus 30 attack weapons or attack accessories already, plus a whole bunch of plus 20 accessories. Yeah. So you might have 3 to 4 plus 30 attack per realm, and I haven't gotten the work done to see how many exactly we have. So you really want to be careful what you're spending your greens on, and don't want to waste them. But you know, with one of those, you're probably not going to go overboard. And I missed Vossler's Gauntlets. That's the one ultimate I didn't beat was Vossler, so I don't have Vossler's Gauntlets. So I might get another Squall, or I might just get another Squall's necklace for upcoming Sid missions in Final Fantasy VIII. Very truthfully. But more importantly to me is the resistance items, and trying to have five of each of the good resistance items, and that's what I'm cataloging now, because that made a world of difference in the Kuja event, and potentially going forward that could make a world of difference. So, you know, I will try to do that, and maybe can write something on the FFRK Central blog, and then maybe do a video about it too, kind of what I find. But it's going to be different for everybody depending on what you have and what you need. So,
sure.
Luckily, you'll notice if you are looking at the Twitch right now that I've actually done some good gameplay in the last few days. I'm actually up to 36,000 greens, so there is hope.
Looking good. All right.
For those keeping tracks, I had something like 500 greens in the last 2 weeks. I was slacking big time.
Can't wait for someone to make a big spreadsheet, like cataloging, like how many greens each of us has had and on each week, and what does this mean for our overall play time?
Yeah. You're not doing that? That's another thing?
No. We're leaving it to viewers. They got to.
It's also important to note that at some point in the future, fragments will become available in the shop. And those fragments are going to be very difficult to get for the record dive system, but apparently they become available they become available not only in Sid missions, but they also become available in the Fat Chocobo shop. So again, you may not just want to go hog wild and buy all of those items. You may want to sit and save them for things that are going to be much harder to get, which are the record fragments. And even if you're a new player, let me say about the Fat Chocobo, you might want to spend one on the Memory Crystal 2 loads, but at some point those become discounted. So if you can wait, you may want to wait on that as well. So, as a newer account, my basics account does not have a lot of greens. And I have used greens to buy a Memory Crystal Load 2 just so I can have a couple plus 65 level characters to help me in the early content. But, you want to be careful going forward because those are going to get discounted and you're going to probably want record dive stuff. Or you can just ignore record dive completely. That might be fun too.
That'd be a fun challenge. Kind of like a no Spear Grid Final Fantasy X run. Those are crazy. All right, so
I'm not sure I see the fun in that.
Oh, it's crazy. Let me tell you. All right.
I mean, wait, people actually did this?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
What's the point?
You can play Final Fantasy VIII without leveling.
Oh yeah, without leveling. No, you still junction though.
Yeah, you still junction, but you don't level your characters.
Well, leveling is messed up in Final Fantasy VIII. Whatever. Before we go into that.
Wait. In Final Fantasy VIII, don't your characters level up by XP?
Yeah.
But you can use a system that basically when you defeat enemies, you don't get experience. You just get ability points for your abilities. Okay. So you can and that's on Steam. That's actually an achievement. Is beat the game with level 1.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
I love
it.
Yeah.
So real quick, one last thing is that we got an apology mithril for the for some boss tips that were incorrect. Dr. Mog lied to us.
He does that a lot, actually.
Yeah. Traitor. Let's see. What does it say?
So incinerate that looked like a magic and hurt like a magic is actually not a physical attack. If it hurts like a magic and talks like a magic, it's probably a magic attack, and it
probably
was.
magic. Yeah. So it was a magic attack.
It was. And
right. So we got a mithril for that. That's nice.
Hey, free mithril. I'm not complaining. Dr. Mog can be wrong every once in a while.
and we've been a bit rough with them every now and then, but they are always transparent with these changes, and they're always nice to the players by giving mithrils every time they fix a coma or something. So, gotta give it to them. They don't have to do it every single time, and yet they do. So,
yeah, I like to think that the in-lore explanation is much like when a student corrects the mistake of a teacher. Tyro raises his his hand and says, "Dr. Mog, that's not right." And he's like, "Oh, geez, you're right, Tyro. Here, take a mithril and don't tell anyone about this."
Well, I think most people get spoiled with it, though, because I made a post on the subreddit last week, and someone pointed it out, and when I fixed it, say, "Hey, thank you, appreciate it," he asked where's free, when he was going to get his free mithril.
Mithril. Only you were able to gift it to other players.
Nope. I just laughed, and that was it. Before we get to the new event, this is just a reminder that as of Wednesday, June 8th, 21:17 Eastern Time, you have less than 24 hours to complete the Final Fantasy VII event, A Night to Remember. So hopefully you've done most of them. If you haven't, there's no better time to finish those.
There was a Final Fantasy VII event?
I don't know. It's with some weird character that
I've already purged it from my mind.
Yeah, jeez, ancient history. All right, so I guess let's move on to bigger and better things, which is the Final Fantasy XIII event, A Dangerous Beauty,
or as I prefer to call it, the day that Pierre finally took matters in his own hand and completed the entire freaking thing in 1 hour 55.
Good job. We're really proud of you.
No, I was proud of myself. I mean, really.
Oh, yeah.
Seriously, usually I don't start them like the morning after, and I did them from start to plus in just that much time. It felt like an achievement. I was waiting for like a little Game Center achievement to pop on, and it never did.
I was very impressed. If that makes you feel better.
Appreciate
it's
it.
Like I can't believe Pierre is clearing this content like a madman.
Yep.
Burning through.
Madman I was. So let's go with what this event is giving us, which is
right.
Obviously, you got to keep in mind this is not a Final Fantasy 13 event. It's actually
This is
Final
13-2.
Fantasy 13-2. So if you go like I did a few weeks back and you say, "Oh, well, it's introducing a character nobody ever played, dar dar dar." Well, actually, it's because it's 13-2.
Yeah, it's just based off of the one cutscene Serah was in 13 before she was turned to Crystal. I personally think 13-2 is the best out of the trilogy, hands down, most fun, anyway. But and it introduces Serah as a character. Serah, at first glance, doesn't seem that impressive. She's got 6-star black magic and only 3-star white magic, and I think the best way to kind of put this character in perspective is if this was Rosa from Final Fantasy IV, but instead of having a white magic focus, she has a black magic focus.
So she just whines a lot through the entire game?
No, actually, no. She's a pretty tolerable character, but
well, we already have plenty of white magic in Final Fantasy 13, so there was no benefit to having another white mage. So
does it make sense?
It's good that she's a mage.
Does it make sense with what she is in the 13-2 game?
Yeah. So like she uses like a Moogle as like a shape-shifting Moogle as a weapon, and it turns into a bow when she goes to magic classes, and into a sword when she goes to physical classes. So I wish maybe she was able to equip swords and had a bit more attack, but still is pretty decent magic. So if you have like some mage specific bows, if any of those exist, put them on her. But what I think she really shines in is what we'll talk about later in our soul breaks when we talk about the banner. So moving on from that, this event also has a wardrobe materia for Lightning, which is her kind of goddess outfit. It's pretty cool. I like her soldier outfit better, but that's just me.
It's the first dress record that I have actually haven't equipped at all. I prefer the one she has from 13 better.
Yeah.
That other one just seemed like it's not the right word, but too crowded. I mean, she looks like a big stuck monster.
It's a cool model in game, but it just doesn't translate very well to a sprite.
Yeah, I think that's the right way to put it.
It's nice that they included it, but it's okay. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a little really bulky, fan. But yeah, some people really like it. We've had some conversations. Some people really like it, so hey.
Well, if it makes them happy. I mean, it's
you can
more
dress
options.
them however you would like.
Just keep it pixels, okay? All right, moving on to the gameplay for this event. You could get yourself a hero crystal or a soul of a hero. You get yourself a materia. No, what is it called? Memory crystal 1?
A memory crystal 1 load or a memory crystal 2 load.
Thank you. And yeah, and you can get memory crystal 2 loads. For the new ones are Saz, what's her name? Fang, and Serah, even though she's just introduced, now gets memory crystal 2. Is Snow's load is not new, correct?
I believe it is.
It's new. Yeah.
Wow, that means there are 4 new loads.
Yeah, those are all new. Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah, and previously only Lightning is level 80, right?
Yeah.
Or Hope.
You could also get Hopes, right?
Yeah, Hope.
Oh, yeah. Hope.
Yeah, Hope and Lightning.
His record materia is called Hope in Vain, which is such a bad pun.
Yeah. Well, I leveled up the entire team to level 65 several events ago, because if you brought the entire team, all Final Fantasy characters with level 65, you got special dialogue. So
that's true. Really? I love the special dialogue, just as a side note.
It was kind of a weird condition for special dialogue, but I did it anyway, so I've had them all level 65.
In which battle?
Oh, this was one of the first 13 events.
Oh.
Like the Barthandelus fight, right?
No, it was against Sid Reigns, maybe.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
There's it was like a 3-minute dialogue tree.
Jeez.
But
just like the real cutscene. You'll need to buy
you had to bring all 5 that we had at the time. That was before Fang was introduced.
Oh yeah, that was.
So you had to bring all 5 at the time, and they all had to be level 65.
Wow.
And yeah, it was like a 3-minute conversation.
That's such a weird trigger. I love it though. But okay. Moving on to the bonus battles. Wandering Apostle Plus. It's the standard 2 fights in one. You have Svarog and Nalopsy with 2 Taxim. Whatever. You got Flying Dragon, Winged Dude, and 2 Rock guys. All right.
Well, and this is why I detest Final Fantasy 13 in this game, because of course you have a ranged foe in the midst of this 2 battle, and all kinds of ranged foes with my very melee oriented team. So yeah, make sure that you are bringing ranged weapons. It's not a huge deal, but in this battle, but make sure you are bringing range to take on that guy in the second round who is flying. The first guy you can hit with anything, even though he is flying, but the second you can hit the Taxum, but you can't hit Nelly Pop there. He's in the back row, so you have to bring magic or you have to bring ranged attacks. So just be aware.
Sounds good. Definitely, I have like pretty much every Final Fantasy 13 gun, so the ranged fights are no problem for me. But yeah,
it was a long battle with Tyro and a gun. So
thanks.
Wow, that had to take forever.
It was a long. I did not lose, but it was a long battle.
Yep. Svarog is weak to ice, as is written in his metal text, and both the enemies in the second fight are weak to slow. So, not too bad.
You need to slow in the second
the metal.
fight. So.
All right.
Bring ice, bring slow. It'll be pretty easy.
Okay.
Yeah, actually, all magic team. Real easy.
Interesting. Now we have everyone's freaking favorite, the Juggernaut, with its steam clean. It's such like a... I don't know. It was a cool fight in the game, in the original game, but now it's just kind of, all right, we get it. It dispels debuffs, so you got to inflict the debuff so you have an opening to attack.
Frankly, this guy attacked me a few times as the battle was starting, and once I had it blind, he didn't touch me once after. As long as you keep him busy with the status ailments, he's going to jump in Steam Clean mode, and he's going to get stuck there until he removes those debuffs. You just debuff him again, and the next turn he gets, he's going to go back in Steam Clean mode, and really it's just going to stay there. So that's really the strategy. Bring Blind Shell.
Blind Shell.
Bring Tempo Strike, Tempo
Flurry.
Tempo Flurry, and you're in business.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sounds good. How much HP does he have? Not that much. Oh, 200,000. I mean, I have so much synergy that it doesn't matter, but that might be a bit steep. I don't know. Okay, now we move on to the +++.
Tower of the Tyrant.
An enemy that we can actually stagger. I thought that was cool.
Yeah, that was really awesome.
Since staggering was kind of a huge deal in Final Fantasy XIII.
Yeah, it's like the whole foundation of the battle system. So it's really cool that they were able to fit it in with the limitations of the game of Final Fantasy Record Keeper. So yeah, what was your strategy?
Bring Dispel Blade to get rid of the haste. It's one target in a way of
Vanishing Strike.
And you can bring Full Break or Magic Break down. And quite frankly, he is not too hard as long as you keep his magic down, because he's got a few group attacks that are not super cool. So again, it's another one of these battles. Keep a wall up, keep his magic debuffed, and it should be actually pretty simple.
Ben, did you beat this one as well? I know Pierre did.
Yeah, I did.
After you staggered him, did he get up for either of you?
Once he was staggered, able to pick him off before he got up.
Yeah, I mean that was I did not see him get up after he got staggered, and he really didn't do anything once he was staggered.
No, I think he stayed down pretty much. Yeah, I think you're right.
So once you stagger him, he's or deal enough damage. In this case, and that's the game mechanic. Just deal enough damage, he's pretty much dead.
Yeah.
Unless you're not dishing enough damage to hurt him, but
unless you go top heavy. But we'll see. I don't think I've gotten this far on my basics account, or maybe I have. I don't know. I guess I could look. So,
all right.
I have all kinds of new toys on my basic account. So,
those are all the plus battles. The ultimates are not out yet for us. So,
do we know what they are? Looking ahead,
they are not yet on FFRK Central.
No, it's on the third day that they posted on the server, so I don't have it yet. Let me check real quick for this little guy when he actually switches to his staggered mode. 1 sec.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
Well,
here I have the bonus battles or the ultimate. Dark Wings of the Abyss, Chaos Bahamut.
Oh, geez. Not
so we have to fight an ultimate version of Chaos Bahamut, and then Protecting the Chaos, and that is Caius Ballad, and an ultimate version of Caius. Caius?
Caius.
That guy we fought already. Both of these we fought before in the Elite Dungeons, so ultimate versions of those on their way soon. Tomorrow?
No, it's the day after tomorrow.
Nope. Yep. rest assured, this event ends on the 17th, so we'll have time to review it next week. The Ultimates, that is.
No doubt.
I'm not finding the info I'm looking for quickly enough, so it's no big deal. And that's it for these. Honestly, I don't know if it's because I have a lot of Final Fantasy XIII synergy. That event felt pretty easy to me. I don't know if it's just me, but there were a lot of harder events recently.
I got a question, and I answered it on my recent basics video, but I got a question about completing these plus and plus content, especially for newer players. And the thing is, synergy makes a huge difference. If you have good synergy, you're going to be able to deal with these events. Now, if you have all the right super soul breaks and soul breaks and Trinity, you're not going to have any problems probably with any of it. Or if you have really good abilities, and early on, I'm 2 months in with my basics account, and I do not still have very good abilities, great abilities, well-honed great abilities. So, you're really relying on synergy. So the realms you have synergy on, you're going to do fine. The realms you don't have synergy on, you're going to struggle a little bit more, unless it's really gimmicky. So I would say, if you have Final Fantasy XIII gear, much easier.
So speaking of synergy, let's move on to the relic banners for this. Ben, you want to do us the honor?
Well, sure. No, there will be a second banner.
Yeah, there will be a second banner on Thursday.
Yeah, there's another banner. Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, the one that we have so far, it features Lightning's Burst Soulbreak weapon, which I hope to get, because I will be doing a 50 draw after I finish this review. And, so, we have Overture, Overture is the sword, and the Burst Soulbreak is Requiem of the Goddess, which, just on basic activation, deals 7 physical attacks to one target, and then grants the standard haste and burst mode. Now, the burst abilities are the best we've seen, in my opinion. Tiny Bee, which was Yuna's, was really bad. Clouds are pretty basic.
Arguably, Yuna's is one of the worst burst soul breaks. So this very well is probably the best burst soul break weapon we've seen thus far. Yes. 6 months from now, it will probably be kind of the mid-range burst soul break, but situationally really, really cool. Yeah.
It's really good. And even situationally and also just overall pretty good, because the burst abilities are Flourish of Steel, which deals 4 physical attacks to one enemy with a moderate chance to interrupt its pending action. This gives you...
That's crazy.
For a limited time, a lot of chances to interrupt actions seen by dismissal, which could totally shut down bosses. I think...
Yeah, if we have an ultimate or an ultimate plus boss who is vulnerable to interrupt, and some of them are, this is crazy.
Obviously it's not a guarantee, it's just a moderate chance, but...
Yeah, but it's four moderate chances. That's the difference.
Is it 4 chances?
I think it is 4 different chances, isn't it? Everyone gets a chance?
Maybe we might have to check that. I'm not sure if it would work that way, or it'd be 1 chance based on the 4 hits. But regardless of that, next we have Skyward Swing, which is 2 physical attacks to all enemies with a small chance to slow them, which if you're going up against group bosses that we've seen, this is just really good, because just slowing them all down, that's a common trend in those kind of group bosses, is that they're all weak to slow. It's really nice, and having the utility to deal area damage as opposed to just standard single target. So it's pretty good. Pretty good. The only problem I have now is that because I have drawn every single piece of lightning piece of Soulbreak equipment, I have a 13 sword, a 13 gun, and 13 armor paired with the next piece, the next Super Soulbreak equipment, which belongs to Saz, the Serious Sidearms, which give the Super Soulbreak Godsend, which grants Protect and Mighty Regen, Major Regen to all allies, and raises their magic a small amount. So it's pretty good. Saz himself kind of is like the staple support character. Just dropped my phone on my keyboard. That was good. He's the staple support character. As we talked about before, he has Mechanist for debuffing. He has access to mid-level spells, allowing him to buff. He has support, allowing him to debuff even further. And his soul breaks have all really been based around buffing with Boon, which was a staple for so long with the Shelga and Hasteга. And now the Serious Sidearms being able to cast Protectga and I guess Regenga, if you would call it that. It's just really good, and I think...
I didn't even think about that. You could, if you're playing especially in a longer dungeon or a longer, if you had some build-up, you can cast Boon and then cast Godsend, and it's all different stuff. So you'd have Protect, Shell, Haste, Major Regen, and Magic Boost. Oh, that would be kind of cool. That's 2 turns to do all that, but...
Yeah, well, then there's...
Interesting enough.
Yeah. So, definitely pretty good. And I actually drew this the other day. Just on a whim, I did a 5 mithril draw, and I got this one.
Yeah, it's not too bad.
It's not too bad at all. It's just that now I have every single 13 gun, and it's just like, how much synergy do you need from the back row? It's ridiculous. Anyway, the last unique soul break on this banner, the last new unique soul break on this banner is Serah's gloves. I'll give you a guess as to who they belong to.
Lightning?
What's Zaz's boys? Dodge? It's Dodge's
Yeah, no,
gloves,
it's
right?
Dodge's glove. Yeah, no.
When do we get to play him? That would be great.
If they bring him before General Leo, I swear to God.
Anyway, Serah's gloves give a pretty unique soul break. Clockmaster deals 2 magic non-elemental attacks to 1 target and temporarily reduces the user's casting time. Now, the only instance of the status effect that we've seen is in the core class Magus's default soul break.
Correct.
So now, to pair it with a better character, this kind of enhanced cast status, I think, obviously it's unique, so it won't be like a staple, but I think it'd be pretty cool, especially if you pair it with a double cast soul break.
Yeah, I saw the time. It's a pretty significant time decrease to cast, and it stacks with things like haste too. It doesn't, it's not like a haste effect. It is a reducing of the casting time. So yeah, you can get off a lot of spells.
And this is something I kind of wanted to say earlier this is kind of something I wanted to say earlier when reviewing Serah, is that, like, obviously in fashion of her game, she's kind of like a time mage. And I think this soul break of hers kind of illustrates that. And I hope to see more time-based abilities come from her. And who knows, maybe in general, obviously, maybe they, like, haste is a white magic, slow is black magic. No, slow is white magic again. But, I don't know. Maybe we'll see some more time mages in the future.
Maybe. Hopefully.
Anyway. So, those were the only 3 new relics. But, overall, I'd have to grade this banner, at the moment, a 4 out of 5. The only reason I think it's not a perfect 5, I mean, compared to the... I'm rethinking myself now, because well, I guess by the time this one's up, the 7 banner will be all but gone. So, for the next week, this banner is a 4 out of 5. It has the burst soul break. It has serious sidearms, which are pretty good. And the only reason I don't think it's not a perfect 5 out of 5 is because you're going to want to save up for the Super Soul Break banner. And after saying that, I'm really doubting myself whether I should do this draw.
Yeah, because you've been talking about it all day.
Yeah, and we're not guaranteed to get Lightning's sword in the burst.
It's not in the burst soul rake event.
It was not in the Japan version. That does not mean because all of the burst events have changed. From
you
Japan
guys are gonna
global.
psych me out of it. No, this is like when you're standing on the high dive and then your friends are all telling you to jump, but then you just want to climb down the ladder even more.
All right, well, tell you what. I'm going to do my 100 gem poll.
Okay.
And you think about it. So
I'll think about it.
Good luck. Good luck, Pierre. I hope my good luck on mine doesn't destroy yours.
That is so unfair.
It's a game, Ben. It's not like Overwatch where you're buying crates.
Does Ben know that what I pulled for my 100 gem draw?
Yeah, I saw it. Wait, not the 100.
Yeah, my 100 on my main account, not on my basics account.
No, I didn't see.
Yeah, I pulled Overture on my 100 gem draw.
Oh my god. Screw you. I'm going to get all 3 stars. I know it.
Okay, so 100 gem. There we go. Yes, and I'm putting the phone down, watching it on the stream with everybody else.
Come on. Chat, could you offer me any encouragement to do this? Climb down the ladder. That's not what I want to hear.
Okay, Moogie's going up.
Mark, I know that's just you in the chat. That doesn't
pooping
help.
An egg, and it's going to be 4 stars. So let's see what it is. It's a stupid Final Fantasy V axe, I believe.
Okay, I'm going to do it.
Giant's axe. So you're going to do it?
All right. I'm doing it. Nobody can see it, but here I go. 50 mithril. Let's go. LeBron James, baby. Chicago Bulls, baby. Miami Heat, baby. Come on. Please, just this once. I got 2 5 stars. Okay. All right. I'm clicking. I'm not waiting. Come on. Come to Poppy. Chicago Bulls, baby. Okay. That's Fang's staff. Oh, I got Serah's glove. Dang it. I mean, I got 2 unique ones.
Hey, yeah.
So it shouldn't be that bad.
Serah's glove's pretty good.
I'm saving it.
What was that?
I got 2 really good pieces of equipment, but they're not the 2 that I want. And I already have so much 13 synergy.
So much synergy.
And they're both characters that I've never used before. Oh my god. Dang. I'm so confused.
So I'm going to do
So I should be really happy right now, but I'm not.
So I'm going to do a 3-item poll, and that'll be it for me, because I want to keep my mithril, so let's do this.
Alright, yeah, I'm still at around 20 mithril, so I should be able to get 50 by...
Yeah, we got another 3 weeks.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so let's go. Mookie. Come on. Do it better than Ben.
Do better than Ben? No. Ben did okay, statistically speaking.
Okay, so Moogie's flying.
I barely call 2 5 stars a belly flop. 2 unique 5 stars.
There we go. I'm going to have 2 3 stars and 1 4 star. So
there you go. I can my hit.
A knife, and what's a 4 star? Just the same stupid axe.
You're gonna make a 5-star one. Hooray!
I got the same stupid Final Fantasy V axe. So just how much Final Fantasy V synergy do I need? Absolutely none.
And this event actually gives you, this is totally unrelated and probably inconsequential, but this for newer players, this event gives you enough Psycom knives in order to make a 5-star variation. So you can have it shine all shiny and gold in your inventory.
Which is super exciting. How much is synergy? What is a 5-star Psycom knife attack with synergy?
Probably around 100.
Yeah.
Whatever. We gotta include the newer players somehow.
Actually, I can tell you that. I can tell you that if you give me 1 second. Sorry.
Well, if it makes you feel better, guys, I don't have all of the burst soul break weapons.
Shut up.
I don't think you're allowed to be part of this conversation.
God. So mad I got rare items, but they're not the rare items I want. This
so mad, my beautiful 5-star relics. On banner.
No, it's good. You know, I'm the fox reaching for the grapes now. That I'm falling sour. Burst soul breaks are bad. They're too slow.
They're so bad. They're
slow. So bad. The meta is too slow the meta's too fast, okay? Yeah. You don't have time to load up that burst soul break while you're using shout. It's just not efficient. It's bad. Meanwhile, I have the very time efficient Serah's gloves, which allow me to reduce my cast time, which in a perfect world allow me to double cast flare 4 times, giving me 8 casts of flare in a single battle. Magic nuking any boss. I'm the best. You suck.
All right. Feeling better?
Podcast adjourned.
All right. Now that Ben has dropped the mic, to answer the question, the Psycom knife has 111 attack with synergy.
Hooray.
Yeah, it's not terrible.
So compared to, say, Lightning's gun, the one I have here.
Unless you have 3 burst soul break swords that are naturally 127, then you don't worry about it.
Shut up. I don't know why I come back here. This is bullying.
Oh boy.
Well, I did pull 4 times on the Beatrix banner and got nothing. Literally nothing except some gloves. So actually, I'm kind of excited about the gloves. Yeah.
All right, let's move on to non-FFRK stuff to give Ben a chance to change his mind.
Let's take my mind off of it.
Ben, why don't you lead this section?
Sure. So, as we all know, E3 is just around the corner, and with every conference being more cringe-inducing and disappointing than the last, it's good that Square Enix is churning out some of its trailers ahead of time. You're waiting for me to say, I jest, but no. Anyway, this week, we got some lovely trailers. We got, was it Monday? We got the Final Fantasy XII trailer?
I have no idea.
I think it was Monday.
Right now, I'm pretty much living for the Warcraft movie, which I'm going to see tomorrow, so I haven't followed E3 at all.
Yeah, I'm just going to say Monday, we got a trailer for Final Fantasy XII, The Zodiac Age, which is the PS4 remastering of Final Fantasy XII, specifically Zodiac Gen, right? It's like Zodiac Internet something. Anyway, it's the version where instead of you just get the full license board, you get like classes. You assign classes to the 6 party members that you get through Final Fantasy XII. And I think it's the more fun way to play, since it's not everyone. Because normally when you play, everyone's just a jack of all trades, aside from like specializing one character in one thing. But now it really, the Zodiac version really forces you to like play the game, I guess, specifically with each character. So that's pretty cool. I'm really hyped up about, I'm really hyped up about it because the graphics look amazing. There's a comment on a video where it was Balthier doing his quickening, and it was just a side-by-side comparison to the PlayStation 2 version, and somebody just paused at a certain second and said, look at Balthier's hand. It looks like a hand now. Think about how far graphics have come. That hands look like hands. I'm happy, and I'm excited. So yeah. And
yeah, I definitely think it'd be fun to play with the job class. I'd also think it'd be fun to play with a different battle mechanic, but take what you can get.
There's nothing wrong with programming, I guess, C++ into your party members.
I did that so much in high school and college that just enjoyed it.
You just don't want to play a game around it. You were afraid teachers were to come over and grade your code. But yeah, looking towards I have here Square Enix's E3 2016 live stream schedule, and it looks like they're going to be talking about the Zodiac Age on Wednesday at 12:30 p.m. to 1:30 p.m., and that is, I guess, West Coast time, since that's where E3 takes place. So if you're interested by that, be sure to tune in then. And moving on to another Final Fantasy title, it's World of Final Fantasy, which seems like the console story-driven game, that's parallel to Final Fantasy Record Keeper as a kind of celebration of all the games. And I don't know. I've looked at some of I don't think it's for me. If you're like a die-hard Final Fantasy fan, and you love every single one of the games and all the characters, and you got to see these chibi versions of all your favorite heroes running around, go for it. It has true active time battles, but I don't know. Graphically, it looks pretty pleasing, but besides that,
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see some more gameplay stuff, and maybe if it's trying to appeal to a different demographic, there will be more people on board for the Final Fantasy game we are getting, Final Fantasy 15. So there should be a lot of good E3 between World of Final Fantasy, Final Fantasy 12 Zodiac Age, Final Fantasy 7 Remake, and Final Fantasy 15. We should be in a good year for Final Fantasy.
Well, it seems like after years of not putting any content whatsoever, they've came back at full throttle.
Oh yeah, and we'll be sure to put this Square Enix schedule in the show notes so you can follow along. And yeah, I guess also Final Fantasy 15. We could talk about that. They're going to be covering that periodically. They've got interviews with the director. They've got something at the start of not every day. Never mind.
We actually have a release date, right? Sometime in September.
Yes, we do.
And hopefully some Final Fantasy 15 dungeons to help the event. There's actually going to be a Final Fantasy 15 movie before the game comes out. That's like a prequel.
Well, I saw the one episode of anime that they released on Crunchyroll. It was okay, but
oh yeah, there's some new mobile stuff we get in the chat, which we have talked about. Some of the new mobile games coming out, so lots of Final Fantasy. But we will be mostly focusing on Final Fantasy Record Keeper.
I mean, yep.
Until those other games come out.
All right. Let's see. So, moving on to Reader's Mail. We've got actually 2 pieces of emails from the same reader today, and they were so interesting that we thought would tackle both of them. So this comes from Derek. They're pretty long emails, so I'm going to go briefly about them. Hopefully, Derek, you'll forgive me. Basically, the first one is, he gives us his opinion about the wall soul breaks and his own opinion in regards to balancing. To quote him, he says, "I feel adding these soul breaks." He's referencing to the fact that certain players have Sentinel Grimoires, other people don't have them. So again, to say he says, "I feel adding these soul breaks is possibly one of Dina's worst mistake and the game's biggest balance issue. I've seen people commenting recently online that the difference between having a native wall and not is so great that it's really like 2 different games. Of course, you can bring it as your roaming warrior, but that takes your options away. It's just not the same as having it in your team." Now, Mark, I know you've mentioned a few times on the show already that you have Sentinel Grimoire, and that that it's mostly always part of your strategy, right?
Yeah, well, I have two accounts, one with Sentinel Grimoire, a wall, and one without. So I think I can speak to this pretty well. It is considerably different. The damage that you take with wall, it is pretty significantly less. So yeah, I mean, it is now. That being said, the issue that I'm having on my basic account is not how much damage I'm taking, it's how much damage I'm doing. And if I had more Super Soul Break and more DPS, I don't think it would be as a big a deal that I didn't have the wall. Now, if I had a wall on my basic account, I could probably get by with the very limited amount of Soul Break weapons I have. But if I just had really good Super Soul Breaks, I think Protect Gun Shelga and the breakdowns would probably be enough. That being said, yeah, I pretty much use wall every battle in my main account. The only thing that's going to change that is Sid missions, which there are going to be Sid missions that you can't bring anybody but Synergy characters to. So you're going to only have walls for Final Fantasy XIV and the core dungeons, which they don't have any Sid missions to this point. So you can't really bring walls except for your roaming warrior. And that also we fight ultimate bosses that ignore defense and resistance. So wall doesn't really do you any good in those cases, and you're going to see more and more of those bosses that ignore defense and resistance. So at the end of the day, I don't think wall is the ultimate game-breaking thing, but yes, it does make a huge difference to triple your defense and resistance.
Do you think they're adding these bosses that ignores defense and resistance in an attempt to quote-unquote fix these balance issues?
No, because they keep releasing the two walls. They keep re-releasing them. So I think they kind of have that awareness. But yeah, they can bring out new bosses that ignore that, so wall's not an issue. But I think if they didn't want wall to be around, they would just stop re-releasing the two walls, and they keep re-releasing them, and they will probably be, although we'll see, because I think our banners are going to be different than Japan's. But in Japan got both walls in their BSB banners, so I think if you see the walls in our BSB banners, then Dina says, yeah, no, this is part of the gameplay, and if you don't have a wall, you should probably bring it as your roaming warrior, and hopefully you have Shout or you have a good Haste Aga and you have Medicas, and you don't have to bring one of those.
Okay, but there again, when you're in my position, it always comes down to, am I going in this with a wall, or am I going in this with Shout?
Yeah, no.
So, for example, and frankly, I did the plus and the plus dungeon in the last event without Shout, because it was not in my roaming warrior list at that time, and I didn't feel like losing time to waste a battle and come back and all of that. And even though those battles were still easy, well, relatively easy, with all of the synergy I had, they were still, you could clearly see the difference when you don't have Shout. So it's still a heartbreaking effect. And I understand where Derek's coming from when he says that it might feel like two different games.
Yeah.
Ben, what's your input on this?
Well, yeah, I think like either playing the game offensively or playing it defensively really like changes the way you look at it. I mean, some people just totally. No, I do not. I'm definitely more of an offensive player. If anything, I could describe my playstyle as kind of like technical in the way, trying to manipulate debuffs and other tricky strategies. But generally, I only bring walls when I really have to, and bring offensive stuff like burst soul breaks or Shout most of the time.
All right.
And I do the same thing on my basics account. I almost always go for Shout. And again, is Shout a meta breaking? Well, it is, yeah, obviously, because everybody uses Shout. So, if you remove
the meta, or is it breaking the meta, or is the meta just adapting to it?
Right. But it is
a huge shift. I agree, but
yeah, no, it is obviously an amazing, perhaps the best Super Soul Break in the game, because yeah, it boosts all of your attack and it gives you haste, and yeah, it makes a big difference when you don't go with those boosted attacks, even if you have synergy, because most of us are not breaking the soft cap of 590 attack, even with synergy weapons. There's some realms when I can get up to 500 without a boost, but not much over 500. So yeah, it makes a big difference. Yeah. No, that's a good discussion. That being said, there potentially is a banner coming up on the BSB with a wall and shout. So yeah, I'd save some mithril and pull on that banner if you don't have either of those, or save a lot of mithril and spend a lot of time trying to pull on either of those to get that wall and that paladin sword for shout, because yeah, that makes a huge difference to your gameplay, and your life will be a lot easier with a wall and with shout native on your team.
Most definitely. Then the second email that he sent us was about our judgment of the recent relic draw banners. I think and Ben, you've read the email. You're a relic draw expert. I think
don't call me an expert, because clearly.
Okay, well, expert compared to me. So, I think what he's mentioning is that we were a little rough in our analysis of these banners. You want to comment on that?
Yeah, definitely. Derek, as he is there, he took issue with the ratings of two banners. One was from the 12 event featuring Bosch, the first banner, and then the second Kuja banner. I think that I believe I rated low the banner. I forget why, but let me look back. Here we go. The one featuring Stroll Strafe. That doesn't tell me what's on the banner. Great. Anyway, I can just look at it and try and remember what was there too. I remember why it was so low, because that was when the Burst Soulbreak banner was there. Anyway, I agree with a lot that he's saying.
Again, just to quote maybe a part of his email, and again, it's a long email, so Derek, I apologize, I can't read the whole thing, but a couple paragraphs says, between the Super Soulbreak Spectacular and the anticipated Burst Soulbreak Celebration, two banners have objectively been considered as excellent banners worth drawing on. These were Bash Banner 1 and Kuja Banner 2. These should have been rated at least a solid 4 on 5, but I believe they failed to do so for you guys. And then he goes on saying, explaining the different items.
I agree with him. Those have been two of the best banners. I pulled at least 3 times on each of those banners because of that. I think when we're sharing our banner advice, we are obviously using our personal opinion, and it's also based on what we have at the time. I don't think we're not going for the idea of looking, a year in the future, and that's how some people rate these banners. If you're looking, Cloud's Burst Super Soulbreak weapon and Squall's Burst Super Soulbreak weapon and even Lightning's Burst Super Soulbreak weapon, they're certainly not as good as some that are coming out 6 months from now. But that's the power creep of the game, and so we can't necessarily judge based on what's coming out. We're judging based on what we have.
And the other thing is, we base our judgments on someone probably like me who has a certain day, maybe 15 mithril, and there's 3-4 banners up. And at the moment we do the podcast, and Ben often, put the emphasis on that, saying, you know what, as of today, this banner is an X, but tomorrow when the other banner is going to be gone, it's going to be Y, because exactly when you have a very limited amount of mithril on a certain day, and you have 4 banners, we try to maybe help the player, saying, hey, you know what, out of these 4 banners, this might be the one you want to concentrate on, but that doesn't take anything out of the others. So on the first banner, if the Super Soulbreak or the Super Soulbreak Spectacular banners were on, obviously, no matter what's on the Final Fantasy XII banner, the Super Soulbreak one will always be rated more because, well, the explanation kind of gives itself here, but that's maybe a good explanation of how we do it.
Well, and you also have to. I think Ben does a really good job of saying, yeah, we're given what we have. This is how it compares. But it also has to do with what you have and what you need. So every banner is going to be different. A banner with wall might be a 5 out of 5 for somebody who doesn't have a wall, but for me, it might be a 1 out of 5 because I already have a wall, and I certainly don't need 3 version or a 7-star Sentinel Grimoire book. So, the reality is it matters what you have and what you need. And so, yeah, it is our opinion, and I think Ben does a good job of kind of sharing that and sharing what we have, and that's all we can give you.
Yeah, and I've looked back on the specific banner, specifically the Bosch one, and I noticed a lot of good stuff. Like I believe I pointed out, like Mist Overload is a really, really good soul break, super soul break, because it's full break plus 7 physical attacks. I mean, that's really good. But you also have to factor in that, and also Apocalypse Shield. It's Hand to the Emperor, but I believe just a straight upgrade. Just upping the attack and defense of your party. But then it's right during the Squall Burst Soulbreak event, where of course everyone's gonna want to be drawing the Twin Lance for Lion's Roar. So my rating is not specifically of the soul breaks; it is of what is best to invest your mithril into. And I think either that's not that clearly said, or there's been a miscommunication. But I am in no way diminishing the value of certain banners. I am just trying to inform players what is the best way to spend their mithril or gems.
And again, just to clarify on something, we truly, really, sincerely, and every other qualification that goes with Lee, appreciate feedback. We're not being defensive.
Yes.
Thank second.
You so much.
It's just sometimes when you do these things, and obviously this is only episode 14, there might be certain lack of how we do things or how we think about this. So we thought this would be a good opportunity to maybe explain a little bit, or the way we think about certain segments of the show or not. But please, Derek and everybody else, keep your emails coming. I forward every single emails to both Ben and Mark. We read all of them, and it's really helping us to get better on the show and in the game itself. So, Derek, thank you for all of your feedbacks. Everybody else that sent an email, thank you. Much appreciated. And if I'm not mistaken, that's going to be our show for today.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Ben, everyone, for tuning in on Twitch.
Ben, anything special going on with you this week?
I'm excited. I almost said I'm excited for E3. E3 is happening this week. So that is what is happening this week. How about you, Mark?
Yeah, E3 not my thing. Sorry. Mark?
Yes. Yeah, no. What's going on?
What are you doing this week?
Anything special this week?
Ultimate Plus. No, I just released episode 17 of Final Fantasy Record Keeper Basics. So I go through some of the SID missions, including upcoming SID missions and how to plan for that, and I answer some mailbag Q&A questions. And I did my 10th 11 pull on the basic account and got 4 5-star relics. So you can see which relics I pulled if you check out that video on the current Final Fantasy XIII Lightning banner. So that's what's going on. I'll probably, once I get all of this information done on the accessories, I will try to get that out to everybody and share those findings.
And in the list of upcoming events after Dangerous Beauty, we've got 2 sides of a coin, Final Fantasy VI coming out on June 13th, sorry. And we've got, after that, Window on the Past, Final Fantasy X event coming out on June 20th. And that's pretty much what's going on right now. Other than that, if you want to reach out to us, if you want to send us questions, comment, feedbacks, cookie recipes, you can send them in many different ways. There's either by email at ffrkcentral@gmail.com. You can reach us on Twitter. I can be reached out at FFRKCentral. Ben?
I can be reached at etank88 on Twitter.
Mark?
At Rev Mark Myers on Twitter, or you can just message me on YouTube or reply to any of my basic videos, and you can find those at YouTube by searching FFRK Basics.
And other than that, the best way to reach out to us is in the ever-growing community of the FFRK chat Slack channel. You can get all the info on that at ffrkcentral.com/FFRKchat. That's going to be our show for tonight. That was episode 14 on June 8th. If you're listening on iTunes and you've got a couple of seconds, you enjoyed the show, please don't hesitate to give us a little review, a little 5-star rating if you would be kind enough to do so. My name is Pierre. I was with Mark and Ben, and hopefully you have a good time, and we'll see you next week.